see this disco one we have here? There is one way you can make it look retro, is to put a textured background that looks kind of old, like that. Yeah. But there's a disconnect between the image and that paper. You want it to look more like it's part of the paper. So what I would do is put that multiply on there, and now you see it looks a little more like it's the paper. See what I mean? Alright, so now what we're going to do, that's well and good to make it look like it's part of the paper, but there's another way you can make it look retro or old. So let's get this pencil. What we're going to do is we're going to get an eraser. I have some shader brushes, texture shaders. These are really good for getting like a old retro kind of grainy look. So what we're going to do, we're going to erase away some of the image to see what it looks like. All right. So you can kind of make it look old with different shaders. So let's try, where is it? Texture shaders. Here. So we have one that's kind of like paper right here. Oh, it's still the same one. So you can kind of make it look like paper there. And then let's try a different one. You also have this one. This is more like a toner. A toner look. Try not to go too heavy and kind of experiment with it, and it kind of makes it look a little weathered and like it went through the printer and got streaky. There are a bunch of different ways to do this with a bunch of different brushes, but I think my favorite is probably like these speckle ones that are kind of grungy. Yeah. You just gotta go easy on it a little bit. So when you erase it, it'll keep the color of the texture behind it. So that's a good quality for it to have. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you the other way to do it. So put our disco ball back. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to shade it with a brush. So we're going to use some speckles, and then what you can do, put it on the wrong layer, there we go. What you can do is kind of do like a white, I'll make a new layer here. You can kind of brush away, or what you can do is you color the texture and kind of make it look weathered. Other than using the texture color, we can choose the color that's already on here, right? And what I would do is make a clipping mask, right? Okay. And then we can brush on it. Kind of looks a little dingy and messed up. Or instead of this one, we could do something like this. Clipping mask. All right. big ones. So see how it kind of looks like it's part of the background, which is really nice. But there's also another way. You can just play around with the colors a bit. I like to do a little black, but without the clipping mask, and kind of mess around with the paper a bit. And go, yeah. Can kind of make it look old like this. Add to the sides, and then do like a little speckling. Just make it look kind of weathered and old there. It's just about finding the right brush and kind of messing around with it. I think that looks cool, but yeah. And like if there's, what you can do is kind of mess around with one side and the edges to make it look a little more weathered.